TUFF SHIFT. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of TUFF SHIFT, the podcast where we unpack all that goes into surviving the job and living the dream. I dreamed a dream in times gone by. I don't have the rights to that song, but I'm super gay, and it's Pride Month, and my name is Patrick Murtagh. I'm your host. If you're watching on YouTube, you see I might be a little more fabulous than usual. I got my flamingo caftan on. And speaking of which, if you're listening, you could also watch us on YouTube because that's what's happening in society. YouTube is back. And so everyone with a podcast and a face for radio now has to put a face on to be seen by people. So please follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, follow us. Leave a comment, rate, share. Share this with everyone you know that you feel this would resonate with. Someone who has survived hospitality, someone like me who is surviving hospitality. Bear with me today. Mama's moving a little slow, okay? This new job is killing me. It is so physical and so taxing. I wake up, I just wake up like the little girl that I used to nanny. She used to have bad days. She's not a morning person. And she woke up one day and she was sore because she was probably dehydrated, and I'm huge on hydration. But she was like, I woke up feeling like an old lady and it's not funny. And her mom and I are just like dying, like crying with laughter. That girl, yes, that's my life now. I wake up feeling like an old lady and it's not funny. So I have my tea, I have my hydration sticks. I'm ready to go. That has nothing to do with this interview, right? Um, I'm gay and annoyed, and we got things to talk about. It's Pride Month, like I said, so let this gay speak. We're going to continue with things that people do that piss me off in the service industry. And if you're not in the service industry and you're listening, like, how can I be a better, customer? How could I be a better guest? How could I be a better attendee of whatever event I'm at? Well, I got a list for you right here. It so happens. So we're going to continue what we unpacked with our openers for Brady. We talked about being a service bartender and the way that people find their way to you to annoy you when there's a perfectly competent, mostly competent bartender 3 feet away who needs work to do. But no, you're going to find the one that has 20 tickets in front of him and ask him all, what you're making, a fucking drink, Bob. But we're going to not even 3 minutes in and I already dropped the F-bomb. But we're going to shift this to talk about things that I've noticed in catering, bartending as a cater waiter. And, this, I thought it was going to be brief. I really thought, like, I'll talk about a few things. And when I started making the list grew. The list just grew. And a lot of the stuff you're going to hear is kind of going to be the same of what you heard last week at the service bar. But this just like specifically for catering. And if you're hearing the same thing again, well, then I hope you're listening and I hope it's resonating, because when you hear the same thing again, it's because you need to hear it again. And we're just going to keep talking about things. That's what pre-shift is, right? We're gently talking about things, not to make you wrong, but just to catch things before they go out, right? So we're going to do this so we were just aware, a little more self-aware. And the first thing I want to talk about that I notice as a bartender in catering is why, when you walk up to my bar and you see just rows and rows and rows of clean, polished glassware, beautiful glassware. I got double rocks glass. I got champagne flutes. I got wine glasses. I got martini. Beautiful, beautiful, polished, sparkling glassware. And you see I have beautiful garnishes, all laid out, beautiful juices, all clean, all fresh, and beautiful fresh ice. Why are you going to walk up with your dirty ass glass and ask me, where can I put this? Up your ass. Like, why? You want to bring your dirty ass glassware to me with my clean hands making clean drinks, and you're like, can I give this to you? Like, where do you want me to put it? And I know some of you are like, well, it's your job, right? No, I mean, yeah, but no. My job is to make you drinks, and we've set up this entire event for you for everything you need, right? We have a whole bunch of tables, not the tables that you'll be eating at. Those are set. We're pretty. We're not going to put our dirty glasses there, right? Because that's clean, and most likely you're going to put it at somebody else's, not your own space. So don't do that. But we have all these high tops, these cocktail tables where no one's at, right? Because why would you be in a place that we have created for you to mingle and have space and relax and enjoy each other's company when you could be exactly in our way? You could stand in doorways and exits and paths that the staff need to use to get around to serve you. Yeah, why would you go use that space, right? But that's where you put your dirty glassware, on those tables where everyone's mingling and everything. And because there's like at least every catering shift, there's at least five people whose job it is to walk around with a tray collecting dirty glassware, to walk around to you. So you can be like, oh, are you done? I'll take that for you. It's designated. Trust me. Not only have we thought this out, but we've done it before. So you're going to just try and put your dirty glass next to a clean glass? What the fuck is wrong with you? Sorry, I'm dropping a little more F-bombs today. I told you I woke up feeling like an old lady and it's not funny. Um, but yeah, just don't do that, right? And don't do that when someone's passing food. You take one bite, you don't like it, or you're full, you've had too many hors d'oeuvres. You really are going to stop the person walking around with a tray of clean food from the kitchen, and you're going to try, not even ask. I see people try to put the food on the tray. It's like, bitch, how would you feel if I walked to you with a tray of fresh hors d'oeuvres and appetizers, and somebody had a bite of their slider burger with their lipstick marks on it, and be like, "You gonna eat off that tray?" No, that's gross. Don't be gross. You're a grown up. You're a grown up, and like you're at an event that people can afford to be at. Like clearly, you're doing something right in life that got you here to be able to buy a suit, to be able to buy a gift for this wedding. So like you're doing something right in life, but not this. Like how are the simple things? Like it makes me wonder, like, how'd you get to the egg first? How did you get to the egg first? Right? And again, there's places you can set it down. You have a little napkin. Put your little slider burger on a napkin and place it on one of those high tops. There's also there is also these trays. I put this up on social media and nobody fucking responded to it. They're like, "Oh my god, that sounds horrific," because I shared this story with them, and I'm like, "But my question was, what are those trays called?" I think they're called jimmies, but basically, it's those long oval trays, and they sit on a stand and covered with linen. That's where we place dirty things, right? And they're in the corners of the room. They're usually near a bar, so you don't have to put your dirty ass glass on my clean ass bar. Um, and you can put your food down there. You can put your dirty glassware. I can, collect things that I'm done with and put it there. And one of those five people, will come by and take things off that tray and bring it to the back. So we just keep things clean and tidy because nobody likes to sit in filth, right? Right? I don't. I don't know about you, but we're here in public and we're not doing that. Okay. So, and again, the funny thing about people never being where they're supposed to be, uh, we have all these high tops. So I worked an event recently and it was like 500 people. And oh my God, when they came in, it was like, I felt like I was in 300, except without all these shirtless, oiled up, shirtless men walking towards me. That I would not have been afraid of. Maybe a little bit. But it was just like all these guests descending on the bar as they do. And this was like smart people. Like these were like, there was like this tech meetup type thing, and they're all doing things with computers beyond turning them on. So this is, some of our most intelligent people, and they again, we have these high tops. We have these high tops set for them, and what do? They go grab their food, they serve themselves, and they stand around that little Jimmy tray. The tray that is meant to collect the dirty glassware, dirty plates, all of that. So there's nowhere to put dirty plates and glassware. And like you're standing around You're standing around a tray for dirty food. And there's an actual high top. There's an actual table. There are tables with actual seats, and you're sitting in the dish pit basically. Like, I love humanity. I just don't have much faith in it. that's that's what I've gotten from working in hospitality. Um, oh man, this list is that's only the first item. See what you guys do to me. See what you do to me. Let's see what we do. Oh, self-service. This is something that really bothers me at a bar. And I'm going to tie in two, because, when the 500 people descend on the bar, and there's clearly a line. There's one of me. I'm at a 6-foot table. There's another, and the place that I'm catering at currently, we have one of our main bar setups is a U-shaped. So that way we can serve as many people and again, reduce the crowd. But people don't like, people will stand at the first bar and not realize that just on the other side of me, you can see there's another bartender with nothing to do. So move. Don't just go to the nearest, bartender. Like, just move. And also, don't try and cut. Like, people see a line, they see one of me. And instead of standing in line, what they do is they come around to the side. So I'm in the middle of the table and you're 3 feet over this way trying to get my attention when I'm taking care of guests. And I will redirect you, because it is not hospitable for me to jump you in the line when people are waiting. So I will tell you, "Oh, hi, do you there's a line." Yeah, and I'm actually doing something right now. I'll let you know in a nice way. But I'm not going to just bend over and you're in charge now. No, baby, I'm in charge. So you're going to go back and get into line. You're not going to try and peek around the sides and say, "Oh, can I just No, you're going to wait in line because we have, or you can go to the bar that's 3 feet away with nobody there. Has all the same wines, all the same liquors, all the same beers, all the same soda, right? So let's stop doing that. Let's stop trying to cut in front of people. And also, if you this gets me. This just really gets me because I understand if you're at a conference and we've set up a table for coffee and light refreshments and teas and this and that, and there's nobody there, there's not somebody in a uniform standing behind the table. Clearly, that's self-service, right? That makes sense. And that's usually reserved for conference things. But when you're at a wedding, when you're at a bar mitzvah, when you're at a birthday, when you're at wherever it is that people are paying to have cater waiters there, we're here to serve you. And I don't want your dirty little hands touching my clean stuff. So I'm busy with a guest, and you're like, "Oh, I'll just grab it myself." The you will. The you will. You are not getting your dirty hand. You're going to touch my ice scoop? Baby, please. I don't know where you've been. And especially if you're a man, especially if you're a straight man, sorry, it's pride. I'm just gonna call it like I see it. Y'all don't wash your hands. I've been in bathrooms with you. You all are disgusting. Disgusting. So don't no, like just wait. Just wait. All right. And speaking of waiting, I can go on. I can go on. I have so many things to say, but I've already been rambling. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Oh yeah, just one real quick. This is worse than people who won't look at the menu in front of them. And it's like, "Oh, what kind of beers do you got on tap?" And it's like the beers that are on the fucking menu in front of you. "What kind of wines do you got?" But like the wines that are on the menu and also on the bar, like this is where it ties into catering, where it's like, yeah, we don't. Well, sometimes you have menus. If we have a signature cocktail or signature cocktails, there's a menu. But like in catering, everything's out in the open. Everything is out in the open. At the front of my table are our beer selections. At the front of my table are our soda selections. Close to me, we have all the liquor we have to provide on display. With the soda and the beers, there's going to be the wines we're serving, all right? And those are for display. Those, so don't take those. When you say, "Oh, what kind of beers you got?" Like literally look at me and start to look at your feet. And about 3/4 of the way, you should hit the table. And when you're looking at the table, don't look at your feet. Stop when you get to the corner of the table. Right there's the beers. Right in front of you. Yeah, it's right there. It's just right there. So look at that. And be like, "Oh, you got any Coors Light?" Like, is that what you see there? And don't just grab the Heineken. Like, that's one, room temperature, and two, like, the fuck's wrong with you? Don't stop grabbing shit that's not yours. Um, just just be a little more self-aware. That's the moral of this story. All right. It's Pride Month. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Now I'm gonna get to today's guest because again I got a list, but maybe we'll unpack the list together because today's guest has nothing but horror stories and experience from working in catering. And this is someone who I have been following on social media for years. Again, we were just talking about how uh, we can't believe we don't actually know each other in person because I feel like I know him. And I feel like I just am so in awe. He is so fabulous, so talented, so multi hyphenated. The things he's done. He's been on Broadway. He's been off Broadway. He's worked in regional theater. He's worked in TV and film. And he's an artist in residence at the Skeleton Rep in New York City. He's a singer. He's an actor. He's a drag queen. And he is just always working towards something and always sharing his light and love and energy and truth on social media. Some of his credits, he's performed at the Hollywood Bowl, worked with Neil Patrick Harris at the Hollywood Bowl. That's a big deal. He's played Ziggy Stardust. He's originated roles, and he does more than his fair share to keep New York City the theater capital that it is, that keeps New York creating, keeps New York inspiring. What else has he done? He's done it all. He's done it all, and we're going to unpack that. He is a wonderful human being, truly remarkable. He's hilarious, and just photogenic. This guy is photo. Every time he posts, I'm like, take a bad picture, will you? Just take a goddamn bad picture. Um, but don't, because you can't. Please welcome to the show my amazing virtual friend. And we're just going to call it we're friends in real life, even though we've never met. The one, the only, the multi-talented Sam Given.
You're my publicist now. My God, did that feel good? I'm gay, annoyed, and I'm an old lady too, except my
Oh,
old lady is definitely Katharine Hepburn. She woke up this
oh.
morning and was like, "Oh, Spencer, just give me a face, for God's sakes."
I sound like a carburetor in January. How are you, you amazingly talented human being?
Oh, God bless you. I'm doing so well. You reminded me, I've actually done quite a bit, and what an accomplishment that is to turn around and say, like, "Oh, I've done it." Because for the
Yeah, you
first time
have.
in my career, I'm sitting still and letting the industry come to me and kind of recalibrating, seeing where I want to go from here. And I think those moments are so important too, to pull back and to honor where you
Yes.
are here and now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I am.
And you are even more than what I could say. I mean, I think the first time I saw you was in the virtual reading of Titanic at the
Oh
Green
my
Room
God, that was
42,
so fun.
and
Yeah,
I
I
was like,
had
who's this queen? Who is this queen? Why is he so fabulous? And I was like, dear Instagram, find me him. And
God
it
bless
was
you. Hashtag replaced. I mean, that's my life story is hashtag replaced. And I live for it. I'm the queen that comes in before they replace you with a name. And I've come to enjoy that.
it is, I mean, there's a show in that. There is definitely
Oh, definitely.
a show. I mean, during the pandemic, I did one of my virtual concerts was just like, I have all these sides. Like the world shut down. I have all these sides for the at that point it was my 10 years in New York City and for all things that I didn't book.
Oh, of
For all
course.
things that I didn't book. So like
Filing
I have
cabinet.
I have my Raoul packet, I have my King Triton packet, I have all, Tata packets, like all these things. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking make some coin off of this. I'm gonna. You called me in. You called me in for Old Deuteronomy on a cruise ship and made me learn 22 pages of music. I'm going to make some money off of this. So
Stereotype.
here is here's my virtual tip jar. So I commend you, and I think there is a show there. But before we get to you, the fabulous performer, um, I want to know about you, the person who survived hospitality. So,
Oh, God,
what
the
was
stories.
your gateway job into this very stereotypical lifestyle?
Well, I'm from a small town, Carmel, California. We have Clint Eastwood and Doris Day. It's very picturesque, but we also have a lot of money. So we have mom and pop shops. Everything is mom and pop, where, even if you have a grocery store, people are like, put it on my tab. So I started working at a small mom and pop grocery store called Bruno's Market and Deli in Carmel. I was a bagger and then I was a clerk. And the owner's hot son, I was this poor little gay kid. Everybody drove to school in a Mercedes and a Maserati, and I was driving to school in a Volvo. Everyone had a CD player. I had the cassette converter,
Oh,
listening to Ren
wow.
Mamma Mia. Yeah, I was that
Mhm.
kid. And one day, this hot son of the owner of the grocery store said, "Get in my car." And I said, "Of course, daddy." And he drove me to the middle of Carmel by the Sea to this little back alley, and we went up these stairs, and I was like, "This is the moment. I am going to become a woman today." And instead, I was introduced to this clubhouse where there were like pictures of strippers on the wall and poker tables, and he said, "I want you to serve us sandwiches and beers. Like this is a clubhouse for men."
This still sounds
Who's who?
sexy.
Oh, it was so. I felt like Zsa Zsa Gabor and Lily with Leslie Caron, except I was more like Mildred Pierce.
I
But I
love
was
it.
trying my best, and I immediately fell in love with serving these men. I felt like I had access to something for the first time in my life, and that was when I got hooked. I like hospitality because of the places it's taken me and the people I've gotten to meet along the way, and sometimes just being a fly on the wall and seeing how different worlds, especially in New York City, how they operate.
Oh, yeah.
Going to the top of the Time Warner Center and having a concert with Nora Jones and Jose Feliciano, like that's a dream come true. Meanwhile, I'm picking up napkins in the corner of the room, bawling my eyes out. But God, to be there is such an incredible experience.
And
So,
especially as an actor, because you get to really, it is the perfect place for character study to just
no,
really
it's
observe the best and the worst of humanity. Like the best behavior, like, sir, you're picking your nose, and everyone in the world can see. You think you're sitting at your table, and there's like this shield around you. Like, I see you doing this, or you see some beautiful stuff, or you see just like drunk idiots, and it's like, you get like, I need my notebook out. Like, I need to like, that
oh,
person
totally.
is going into the the treasure chest as it
That's
is.
where I did most of my drag work, to be honest. It was studying all these hostesses with the mostesses, who would
Oh
ask
yeah.
me to take shrimp cocktails to their husbands in the bathtub. It was like, the fuck you asking me to do? But at the same time, I was so here for it. I learned so much about character while observing and while being of service to others.
Shrimp cocktails in the
Yes,
bathtub.
it was before the Me Too movement. There was a lot of that kind of stuff for me. I was the
I
young
feel
Nath.
I feel like everything you're saying sounds like the beginning of videos we have all seen as gay men.
I know. Sometimes I go watch them just for memory lane's sake.
I'm
It's
like, say uncle. Jesus.
no, like one of my first catering gigs in LA, I was invited to a gay party in the Hollywood Hills, and I quickly realized that the cater waiters were part of the package. Like you got to leave with one of them, and I'm going to name names here because I don't give a shit.
Yeah, dude. Oops. Name redacted.
Tried to take me home, and I was like, I don't. I just pretended like I didn't know who he was, and that was enough for him to go on to somebody else. But I was in these environments that they were sexually charged at the same time as me, stuffing mushrooms and olives and
Stuff and
tomatoes with
something
feta
else.
cheese. Yes, exactly. And frankly, I loved it. I loved it. Because I grew up in such a small town and it was sheltered. So to get out in the world and to feel this sense of danger and intrigue and charge, while all the while, setting my own boundaries, was
Yeah.
pretty exciting and thrilling
That's
to me.
wonderful. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, like I said last week with Brady, to quote the great Shug Avery, "Ain't nothing wrong with nothing that's right with both of you, but the key is that it has to be right for both of you."
Right.
And that is just that's wild. That is
And he was so offended, but I was offended because I was like,
yeah.
I'm just trying to work my job. I don't want to go home with anybody. I'm 20 years old. I'm just a newbie out the gate. Like, let me do my job and serve you your canapes.
Yeah,
And you can admire me from a distance. We'll call it a day.
we'll call it a day. But yeah, just like look me up and well, I'm not gonna
No, listen, there's
this
a
got
back door
too
to
spicy.
success. I should have taken it. I should have taken that back door to success. I might be someone
I
else now.
mean
I might have a home in Palm Springs,
I
but this
mean
is where I am.
it's fine, It's I always say I have no morals, but I have a lot of Catholic guilt. So it's
It's
not
like a
my
Jewish guilt. It's the same thing. Knock knock.
exactly. It's just like I don't have morals. Like this interview got spicier than I thought. I thought we were going to talk about spicy things at the end
She's
of
a
the.
spicy queen. She's a spicy queen. She's came armed and loaded. Yeah.
Why have we never hung out in New York and just dished?
Uh,
This is hilarious. But when I do come to New York, we are going to get
we
together and we are going to just read people for filth under our breath.
perfect.
So, do you happen to have a tough shift in all the shifts that you've worked that just seems to stand out a little more than the others?
For me. What's interesting about the tough shift, I've been listening to a lot of your episodes and they're brilliant, and everyone has such a
Hear that,
great
people?
story. It's brilliant. It was never the work for me. What I loved about catering was people take great pride in their work and
Mhm.
in being of service to others. That was what guided me into that field. But it was the ego bruising for me. So it's a conglomeration of meeting some of my heroes in ways that I didn't want to meet them. Like, for example, you said I worked with Neil Patrick Harris, and I did right out of school, and I thought I had arrived. And, fast forward 10 years, I'm working coat check, taking his coat, and he looked right through me. I mean, that was pretty bruising. Or
Hmm.
was it, when I worked my first shift for the Game of Thrones premiere and George R. R. Martin lifted up the tablecloth and peed under the table and I was the one responsible for cleaning it up? Or was it Brooke Shields in the elevator when I asked her if Latisse really worked and she just gave me a look of death? Or the last one, I mean, the one that broke me, that actually took me out of catering, was I was holding a tray, like you said. People were dumping oyster shells on my tray and forks on my tray. It's not what I was there to do. And the darling, gorgeous, formidable Glenn Close walked by me in a gown, and my jaw dropped, and I dropped the tray. I dropped the tray of oysters. I dropped the tray of forks. She looked at me, and all I could do was scream, "I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay." And that was it for me. It was like I am not equipped to meet my heroes in this manner. It just doesn't. And to give a little backstory, like I was a really bullied kid,
Mm.
so theater was my sanctuary. And I made a deal with the devil when I was 11 or 12 that was like, I am going to succeed in performing so much so that I'm able to turn around and look at all the people who didn't believe in me and tell you I told you so. So
Yeah.
vengeance and anger really drove me. And it drove me throughout my 20s, especially when I was working in catering. So every time I felt like I was not part of, I I ached. I really, really ached. So I would go home just broken from those kinds of experiences.
Yeah, I totally relate to that spite. Um, because like it is a really wonderful motivator. And I mean, because I'm a Scorpio, so I still have it
Ooh,
in my
get it.
heart from like I will succeed. I know that my career has been humble so far, humble but great. Like I've
Oh,
done
grand.
wonderful things that I'm very proud of, but like I still just want to like be successful so that the theater companies that gave me the runaround or the directors that treated me like shit, that they want to work with me again. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm unavailable. My manager is saying that I can't work with your theater company anymore. Like it
I
sounds
sometimes do that
so.
now just to give myself like the feeling like I'll submit for something that I know I'm definitely not going to take. And then they call me
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I booked a gig and I signed an NDA. And it makes me instantly feel grand. And I know it's totally toxic, but it works.
yeah,
It works to kind of guide me on to the next thing and build a little bit of confidence.
yeah,
I'd say
and
the problem with vengeance is it's like resentment. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. And so at
exactly,
some point in time, if you want to build a sustainable career in hospitality or in the arts, you got to let it go and you got to find a different guiding light for
exactly.
yourself.
Exactly, because the forgiveness is not for them; it's for you and your health,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
100%. But I will entertain spiteful thoughts every now and then. But it is true, like
It's a
you do,
great motivator.
because like going back to like about not having morals but guilt, is even similar. Like I've worked with people on multiple occasions that I never want to work with again. But it's one of those things where in performing, it's like when's the next one going to come, when's the next opportunity, if I turn
Mm,
this tremendous guilt of if I turn down working with these people, am I going to have am I going to have another shot? Is the universe like I'm guilty to the
it's going to
is the
smite
universe
me.
is going to be like, you don't want it enough because you're not willing to work for $100 with, a group of people that treat you like shit or fight amongst. I worked with this one team on multiple occasions, and each time was an experience. Each
Yeah.
time, the first time I was working at a festival, it was one of my first jobs in New York, and I was like the everything. I was like the assistant stage manager, I was the props, I was the this, I was whatever. And that's where I first met this team. And there was just like it's like it's a festival. Every show runs for a week. It's You're telling a really important story. Um, and there's so much drama around it when it's like that's your shortcoming, not the cast's, not anyone else's. That's you two not being able to work it out. Years later, reached out, and there was like wanted me as an actor, and I was like, oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I would love that. Cut to, oh, I forgot about the drama. I forgot about the drama. I
Oh,
forgot
oh, tell
about
me about it.
the mean comments. And like, I actually, this is one of those things where I accidentally ended up as a headliner in this nymph reading. It was like a stage, it was like a nymph stage. It was like not their full stage, but it was like their workshop offshoot. And they, in Playbill, they had like submitted everyone in our bios, and they thought when I was in the man of no importance at the gallery players that I was at man of no importance at Lincoln Center. So like I got bumped to like the headline of the article. I was like, that's hilarious.
Win. That's a
But this,
win.
but this writer like pulled me aside because he wasn't like, first of all, you're not the director, but he wasn't happy with how I was treating the character, which apparently was based off of me and his experience of watching me and when I worked on the first show for them. And he watched the relationship between me and one of the actresses, and apparently he wrote a musical based on our relationship. Um, and he wasn't happy with my performance, so he pulled me aside and was like, I fought for you. You're the only one in this cast that doesn't have a Broadway credit. And I was like,
Oh,
bitch. And I didn't learn the lesson. It took one more. It took one more to where I did another reading for them years later. And it was just a horrific experience. And they took away all my songs. They took away this. And I was just like, I'm literally walking on stage and it just like being abused. And I really have nothing to do, but I'm getting paid. I'm performing at Joe's Pub, whatever. But it's like learning these lessons of just like, I don't want to work with you again. I don't like tough shifts aren't limited to the hospitality. Like it also happens in our career. And I'm so sorry that you had so many of those experiences with like all these people who are loved, like all these celebrities that like we love. And it's just like, because I mean, I have celebrity experiences, good, bad, and ugly. But it just kind of like it sucks because it's like if we were cast together, would you treat me like this, or it's because you don't know how talented I am, which is the whole point of this podcast. You don't know who you're just tossing
right.
your dirty dish at. Like fuck that. Were there any celebrity sightings or that were positive that you just like, I can't believe I just met.
Oh, people love to hate her, but Sarah Jessica Parker was one of the sweetest dolls I've ever
Oh,
met. She was kind. She took a picture with me. Barack Obama. I worked a party at Reginald Jackson's house, and Barack Obama came back into the kitchen and shook every one of our hands to thank us for he's the smoothest hands I've ever had the pleasure of touching. I mean, what a gentleman! Like
now you would have
he
gone home with
was.
him.
I was already packed and ready to go. I was like, take me. I'll sleep
Do you need
between
a
you and
shrimp
Michelle.
cocktail in the bathtub? I got you.
Yeah. No, I love what you say about meeting celebrities and wondering how they would treat you. For me, looking back on it now, it's like, oh, I realize that, I always thought that the Broadway show or the big dream job or working with that special person would fill a God-sized hole. And then I realized that the only person that could do that was me.
Yeah.
So I was being spared immensely, and seeing that what the entertainment business can do to even our brightest stars. It can make them cynical, and also they're human. Everyone has a day. I'm sure I have not been the kindest person to the lady working at CVS when I'm trying to get out of self-checkout with my Robitussin. It's like I want to just get in, get out, do my thing. but it's
Place
it's
your item in
encouraged
the
me to
bagging area. Place your item in the bagging area. It is in the bagging area. Like it's always when you like buy a card and it's like has no weight and it's like it doesn't recognize it. It's like why? This is why we need checkers back. This is why.
No, it's awful. And it's always like when you're buying like one of the most embarrassing things, like medicated ass wipes or something like you just don't want the world to know. And they're coming for you. They're like, oh yeah, hemorrhoid cream isn't working. It's like you have no idea that that's going to be the day that the world knows about your issues. But my
It's
point
so
being is
Golden
like,
Girls. So condoms, Rose, condoms.
condoms, Rose. Yeah, exactly. No, you said the one I liked that you said the other day was Large Marge Says Hi, and I was like, oh, I know that reference immediately. I'm not going to spoil it for your listeners; they have to do the work themselves. But that's how I knew we were kindred spirits.
Did you see? Have you seen the documentary?
Unbelievable. Talk about putting things in perspective and about what you're aiming for, what your dreams are, the compromises you make to be in this industry, to be the genius that you are. Like everything comes with a trade-off,
One hundred
and
percent.
and that man was such an incredible artist
Yeah,
from the get-go. And
truly underrated.
very underrated. Like, I'm so happy we have this documentary as a testament to the work he created and to the person he truly was. Because for me, he was one of my first inspirations. Like, it was him, it was Carol Burnett playing Miss Hannigan, it was Glenn Close doing Cruella de Vil. It was these
Mm,
bright stars who took bold, bold risks. And he was just an enigma,
yeah.
and so generous. Like, he didn't have to create a show for children. And yet he did it with such integrity. So Pee Wee Herman is who we're talking about. But what a man,
Yeah.
truly.
Just, I mean, and especially like, I mean, for everyone who is different, but specifically for like young queers who don't know yet that they're queer or whatever, but just seeing this outlandish world that he created, and it's great to be unique. It's great to see things differently. It's great to be wacky and this and that. And it's like just one of those like subliminal things where it's like, I mean, maybe that's the agenda is making people feel seen and making people feel comfortable in their own goddamn skin because
And that
nobody.
takes us back to hospitality. It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
about letting people know that they're heard and they're seen and that they feel safe in whatever environment they're in. And people will do with it what they will. But I found that when I take that approach in the work that I do, it's far more rewarding.
Now, did you have like a, as I'm talking about how I'm physically exhausted from my current bartending job, uh, did you have a routine? Because I know you've done yoga, you've done fitness and all that, and we'll get there. But was there like a self-care routine for like protecting the artist? Like how to decater yourself, how to de-waiter yourself, how to restore your value after the people treat you like shit or after you're forced to do something that doesn't feel right. Like how do you take care of Sam the artist and remind yourself like this is the survival job and this is the carrot at the end of the stick? How do you make that carrot stay shiny and attainable?
For me, it was connecting with the city. Every time I left a gig, I would walk, and I
Mm,
would, I would, I would, I live on the Upper East Side, and I would take a long walk home if it was, a safe hour of the day,
yeah.
and I would listen to my musicals, or I would listen to some really good music, and just connect to the rhythm of the city again, because it will always propel you forward if you hook into it. That's what helped me decompress. The other thing I would really recommend that I didn't do was eat. I didn't. There was a time in my life where I was all about deprivation, and that really made catering and showing up very, very difficult, because I just wanted to please and get the job done and go, 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 go. I got off on that kind of um, exhaustion. And I think had I taken the time to eat the meals with my friends who were also working, I would have found so much more abundance in the shifts that I was taking on.
100%. You gotta, and that's why it's so important to feed your staff. A
Oh
theme we
my
talk about
God,
here on
so
this show.
important.
Like, because especially with catering and people like, oh, this one catering company that I work with, they're making excuses for why they're lame. And it's like, in no other industry is the boss, expected to feed their staff and da da da. I'm like, yeah, but in that industry, they get a break where they can like walk around. There's a refrigerator where they can pack their lunch and store it safely. Like we can't bring outside food and store it with food we're serving to guests. We can't like so you and it's food industry. It's the food industry. You got to feed your
Right.
people.
Right.
it's the smallest thing. Put out a sandwich, put out salad, put out pasta. You always put out pasta. Can I get
Always put out pasta.
food that's not beige? Can I just get some?
Please.
Can I get something that looks closer to the pride flag? I need to eat the rainbow. That's what we need to eat the rainbow.
One of the companies I worked for had beet chips, so that's maybe the closest thing we got to the rainbow. It was always those beet chips and like potato chips,
And
and
then
so
like
I was
three
like,
hours
oh,
later, you're like, why is there? I'm like, oh, beets.
always, always.
Hey there, just checking in. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. And if you are, why not leave us a 5-star review and a comment or two wherever you're listening to this from? And don't forget to follow us on social media at TUFF SHIFT Podcast. That's TUFF Shift Podcast. Everywhere. Literally everywhere. And just a reminder, gratuity's not included, but tips are always welcome. And you can find our virtual tip jar at tuffshiftpodcast.com. That's TUFF Shift Podcast.com. All right, back to the show. I judge everything off of food. Is there a company you worked for or an event you worked where the food was just like, oh, this shift, like it may have been tough, but like that short rib was phenomenal. Was there like a family meal that just like, or even just leftovers that was just, oh,
Always Great Performances was the catering company I used to work for, and they took a lot of pride in not putting their food to waste. So we
mm,
left every shift with food in our pockets and in our bags, and it was just delicious. Great
yeah,
chefs who took pride in their work, and the beet chips got old after a while, but everything else was just delicious.
yeah.
Yeah.
I one of the catering places, the place that I really love working with, their family meals are always on point. Like they just, I mean, they go with a theme, and it's like I'm a carnivore, and it's just like just there's just so much meat, and it just
Oh,
gets I get the pre-meat sweat
heaven.
just looking at it. I love it, and because they're a museum, um, and they have a cafeteria. If I'm ever in the area and I'm hungry, I can come in with my badge and I can get a free meal. Like they are so like
That's
that.
fantastic.
That's phenomenal. I am dedicated to these people because they're wonderful to work with. I love working on site at this museum, just being around it, and they just like the food is always
On point.
on
On
point.
point. I love a good. Great Performances did great charcuterie boards, and I would load up on the cheese and meats. It's so freaking good. They
It
made it
is.
look gorgeous.
It is, and that's when there's leftovers. It just makes me, just like just cheese for days. I love a good charcuterie board. I hate cheap places. Like, what are you gonna do? I worked at a place in Tribeca, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's in Tribeca, and it's no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
A historic restaurant that had a catering side to it. So I trained to work at the restaurant, and I was like, fuck this shit. I clocked 10 miles. The restaurant is just like so big and unnecessarily so. And the
Unreal.
chef there is an asshole, but unfortunately, he was the same chef. He was the chef for both. And they would just, I mean, the food was always on point. The food was always on point for a catered event, for a sit down meal. Like you got the food that was at the restaurant. Like so they got like giant pork chops. They got giant steaks. Like it was phenomenal. People would always be like, "This is too much food and it's so amazing." But one thing he would do is if you didn't get there before like the food was, discarded, like he would throw away food. And it's like, you small little man. Like he reminds me of that evil chef in Ratatouille. Like he's that
Totally.
guy. Just like
Yeah.
what a little dick,
How
Chef
dare you?
Stefan. And I'll call him Chef Stefan because that's his name. He
Perfect.
was awful. And it's just like you're gonna throw all this food. But what he did is he would repack the charcuterie, like the cube cheese. And it's like, you can't
How
you
dare
can't
you?
serve that. You can't serve that, dude.
Yeah,
Like
that's a crime.
that's disgusting. And also, like, why would in front of all these people we work this shift? Like, I don't know why these waiters think they should get everything. I'm like, well, because the family meal you put out was trash, and even the salad, like they would put like frozen tomatoes in the salad. And so I just get like
No.
I take a bite and be like, oh fuck me, like just like like you bite into an ice cube, and
There
it's
goes
like,
my tooth. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, we
Yeah.
took care of each other there. We would always just be like, we would go back when there was only like 3 things on a plate, and specifically because I'm gluten intolerant. My
Mhm.
coworkers knew, so like specific things like for the shrimp skewer, for this, for that, they'd be like, all right, meet me in the back. And like when there was 3 things, and we would just be like, before we go in the kitchen, we just like and bring the empty trays because we're savages.
No, that's what
Catering,
I love about it, the mischief, the fun mischief together. Like, I made
right?
such great friends in
And like
this
finding
industry.
people across the room, like when something goes
Oh,
wild and it's just like,
totally. Just
whether
the
it's a
guys. All
staff
you need is
member or a
guys.
guest. Oh
Hmm.
my God, I love it. And I also love how people, when they're like, "Oh, I don't really have a tough shift," and then they like say all these things, and you did the exact same. Oh, it's not really a tough shift, and then it's just like boom, 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 all these things that I've observed and survived, and that's why therapy exists.
Yeah, exactly. And Prozac and Wellbutrin and Abilify.
Exactly,
They
because
it does wonderful things.
trauma can be funny. Trauma can be funny if you have the tools to make it, a little less
Yeah,
traumatic.
it becomes healing if you make it funny, but you've got to work through it. You can't just let
Exactly.
it sit there.
Exactly. So I want to move on towards you. We've kind of mixed the
Oh
the
yeah, we've been a mixed
the
bag of
subject.
nuts.
So let's move over to you as a performer. Have there been, besides Neil Patrick Harris, I want like the reverse side of it, like not someone you worked with and then waited, because I've done that before and it's been kind of weird. It is weird. And it is embarrassing and humbling to be like, oh, we were on stage together. Terry
Oh God, all the
Ralston.
time.
Oh, like all these people. I'm like, oh God, I know and love you. And now I'm here and I fucked up your order. Um, like,
Totally. I remember
but
running into a director I'd worked with, and he'd be like, "So what are you doing now?" And I'm like, I'm working this party. Like, if you had any question, like this is what I'm doing these
this is it.
days."
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
available.
Thanks for replacing me. I'm just kidding. No bitterness here. Like
No.
everything that happens for a reason for me, and I've been spared so many times.
Yeah. Yeah. You were phenomenal in that show, in that reading. I
Oh, thank
absolutely
you.
just, I mean, clearly I connected with you right away. I'm like, who's this queen? We need to be friends. But has there been an experience where you have waited on somebody and then got the opportunity to work with them professionally? So you got the reverse of it, where it's like, okay, you saw me at my humble, and now you're seeing me as like an equal.
And not in catering, but definitely in fitness. I spent many years working in fitness, and a lot of my clients ended up either A, offering me jobs or being a coworker on a project. Like The Inheritance, I was a teacher for one of the actors in that show. And so our first day of rehearsal, when he walked into the room, it was so freaking cool to have that moment of, yeah, we're both here,
Yeah.
you know,
And you probably
including me.
wouldn't have, not, I mean, this is just a leap, but if he had been a regular at your restaurant, probably wouldn't have made the same offer. But seen as like, oh,
No,
I'm this instructor, it's like it's like, oh, okay, well that's interesting. And I mean, no shade to the person because they got you the job or they stood up for you. You got yourself the job.
right.
But it is interesting how like we view things like if you're working in hospitality, I hate this word. You're an aspiring actor. Like, no, bitch, I'm an
Totally.
award-winning singer. I've worked with
Yeah.
Broadway talent. I have boom, like, but I gotta pay bills. But
Yeah,
then,
I'm a
but
national treasure. The world
I'm
just
a
doesn't know it yet. Yeah.
goddamn national treasure, right? Um, but so you made the shift from one stereotypical career to another, like very. It's like it's like the hospitality world is so easy to get into. It's not easy to work, but it is relatively low stakes and it's easy to maneuver your way into it. But then there's like a shift where people just like, I can't do this anymore. And it's personal assistant in New York
Did it.
specifically, real
Did it.
estate,
Definitely.
or
Done it.
fitness. Oh, you've done real
and
estate?
and I've done, let's see, I've done estate solutions, insurance, personal assistant, executive assistant, real estate, fitness, and now my aesthetics journey. But yeah, I've done it all. And there were
What was your
moments,
insurance experience like? Because I'm
oh
looking
my
into.
God, that was crazy. So I was in charge of like laundry plants. That's all I can remember. And I would have to go find these laundry plants online for like dry cleaning, where they would send the dry cleaning to get done and then
Not
bring it
for
back.
laundering money.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
exactly. Maybe. And I would have to like take pictures of them and go, like I was a little investigator, and then like walk in and ask where their plant was, and how they, and do the resourcing, and then I would prepare a package for them for an insurance quote. That was right out of school. It was pretty fun because I was also drinking at the time. So like, I got to drink my wine and take fun pictures of people. I felt like a little sleuth.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
yeah,
Gay,
it was a
fabulous, and
blast.
tipsy.
Oh, gay, fabulous, and tipsy is right. In Los Angeles, sunny Los Angeles.
That's another cabaret show that you have to
We've
write.
got plenty. We're going to start with mother first. We'll
Exactly.
just do one about my mom. You know, that's the easiest source material.
Now, are these characters? Because I know online you have with your drag personas, like
Yeah.
it's a bit. Then this is, I mean, this is a compliment. I mean this as the world's biggest compliment because it's how I describe my personalities. Um, the drag personas that you've created are remind me a bit of Roger
Oh, totally.
from American Dad. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, where
It's
it's just
very
like
much like that.
it is fully fleshed out human beings. Like this is not just somebody in a wig. This is somebody. This is a trad wife. I think you the one with the short blonde. Like she's definitely now would be called
Oh, you know her? Oh my God, you've watched. I'm so Hannah
a
Baker.
Hannah
Yeah, she
Baker.
was selling LuLaRoe. She was
She
selling
loves
LuLaRoe
Ree
during the
Drummond.
pandemic.
She loves a
Oh,
pioneer woman.
that's hysterical.
Where do these characters come from for you? Like, and was drag born out of because you did the Legend of Georgia McBride? Was
Oh yeah.
drag? Did you get those shows because you did drag, or like there's drag queens who were born out of doing kiki boots, stuff like that. Like, what
Totally.
came first in this? The
I fell into drag. I was one of those kids. This was, still a different generation when we didn't have the language around queerness that we do now. And I was, a senior in college, and I remember them saying, like, you got to put lead in your shoes or you're never going to work. You're too gay to function. It's too much. And I said, oh, I'll show you. So I moved to New York and I started auditioning for women's roles because I just wanted to work. I went in for Dolly Levi, I went in for Miss Hannigan, I went in
yeah,
for this show that was doing Joan Crawford, and I booked the Joan Crawford role and did a Faye Dunaway, impression, and had the time of my life. But Hedda Lettuce, who is a famous drag queen in New York City, really well known, and now lives in Puerto Vallarta, she took me under her wing, and she was like, "You need to create your own persona, and you need to make her funny, and you need to learn how to write parodies."
mm,
And she just nurtured the hell out of me for a couple of years, and that's how I found my voice, and that's how I found my agency, and that's how I found my own artistic license. I no longer was trying to be the person I thought you wanted me to be in the audition room, and instead bringing in all of my energy, unapologetically. So drag for me, like I say in Georgia McBride, was a bit of a protest. It was my way of saying, this is who I am. I don't care what you think of it. Either love me or leave me, but I'm not going anywhere.
yeah.
And I'm gonna take your damn roles. Like, I'm gonna show you that I'm very much capable. I went on and did like Godspell. I played Sonia in Godspell. Who does that?
That's
But
amazing.
it was really fun in a regional theater for a very conservative audience. Like, I got to take drag to places where people aren't normally exposed to drag, which was the most rewarding part of the work for me. And then I created a character named Milligrams. I wanted to name her Faggoty Ann, but people don't know who Raggedy Ann was. I know. Take the word back. Take the word back.
It's my favorite
Um,
word, and I tell
it's my
people
favorite word too.
I am gay with a capital F. Like that's what I tell people.
So good. But I created Milligrams, which appeals to the baby boomer generation, which was kind of my audience, mostly straight people. And I would write these cabaret shows where I would weave together, my own journey coming out, my own journey through drag, my own journey getting sober and finding love. And people who would come in skeptical would leave fans by the end of the show. And that was so rewarding to me. And I knew that if I was going to continue being an independent theater artist, that's the kind of work I wanted to do. I wanted to bridge different communities, and I wanted to bring people who are on opposite sides of the spectrum together, that we could relate around a piece of art or humor or tragedy.
Yeah.
And drag for me encompasses all of that. So I've done a lot of drag in theater. I've done a lot of drag on TV. I find right now I'm at a bit of a crossroads because most of the drag work is going to the queens from RuPaul's Drag Race, and like, as it should. They are brilliant and magnificent, and I'm obsessed with Jinx Monsoon. But it also means that I have to pivot myself and find
Yeah.
like what's my next thing. And for me, it's been really
Without having to go on that show.
without having to go on that show because I do not know how to sew and I do not know how to do makeup. Like it's just we'll figure it out.
It is season
But
20. How do you not know how to sew? I love when shit like that happens. Like,
I know. But for me, like what the great part of this journey is like I'm approaching 40 and I'm letting
are
my
you fucking
artistic
kidding
vision.
me?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've been around. You know,
Girl,
we come from the same generation.
I thought
The
you,
same.
no wonder you know Large Marge. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm 38 and I'm
Girl,
proud of it. We've survived,
you
you
look
know,
like a
and
baby.
God bless you. It's tears. It's
It's
tears. I do a ballad in my bathtub every day
it
at 4
the
p.m. The man
salt
that
and
got
the
away.
tears exfoliates.
It's so great. It's so great. Yeah, and twink blood. I like to drink twink blood as well.
You do have that twink
Um,
vampire thing going, yeah. My fiance too. When people are like, "Oh, so you got a younger man?" I'm like, "We're 6 months apart." Like,
I
but
know.
he's got,
I
and he
know.
doesn't like when I call him a twink, but
I love it.
I'm like, what a twink thing to say.
This is such a twink thing to say. Yeah, no, like that's the pivoting kind of out of drag has been an opportunity to let my real self come through because I also use drag as a way to cover up and to be
Yeah,
very self-effacing. You know, before I started dealing with my own trauma, it was my mask, and now I get to walk into rooms as Sam, and it's such a different experience, and I'm really embracing it these days.
do you still find a little like pushback? Because I know I don't do drag. I call it soft drag. And that was kind
Mm.
of born. I used to like host parties at my house, and I did kind of like that 1960s
Oh, I
inspired.
remember.
Yeah, and it was
I
just like,
remember the looks, serving looks.
yeah, and then it was like during the pandemic, it was just like even more like with my online concerts, it was just like lean a little more into that. And people were just like, well, the pandemic's gonna be over, you're gonna have to work again and you're gonna have to do this. And it's just like, and then when I did my Mario show coming out of the pandemic, they're like, oh, we kind of wish you were in a caftan. We kind of wish you, and then when I did my Sondheim show in high heels, it's like, oh, but it's just such a weird somebody did this. Somebody came to my show and I was doing a Christmas show in drag afterwards. And somebody came to my show, and these two ladies, and it's at Martuni's, which is heaven on earth,
Oh,
but like literally, um, there's no dressing room. You're in the storage closet,
yep.
and you can hear everything. So I'm just like standing there in the dark, waiting to come on. And these ladies are so excited to be there. And this one person who I comped in was like, well, it's just, it's not a good look for, he sings this Mario Lanza stuff. He does this and that. And now he's in heels and, he doesn't even like make himself look like a woman. And I was like, that's not the point necessarily of drag. Like I like having a mustache. I like having mascara. I don't
Gorgeous.
shave my legs.
Fabulous.
I wear fishnets because I got good legs and I don't need to shave them. I'm not trying to hide the fact
Mm.
that I'm a man. I'm doing my soft drag but this pushback where it's like we want you in drag, we don't want you in drag. Do you still even to this day
Oh,
kind of like
all the time, all the time, and that's I think where I really appreciate how old I am because I don't give an f as much
yeah
anymore. What people want, it's like what you see is what you get. If you love it, you love it. If you don't, you don't. But there's what I have found is there's an audience for everything,
yeah
and your audience will find you if you just stay true to who you are.
amen
And the other thing I grant myself grace with, shaking hands with my own humanity, is that I am liable to change. I am always evolving. What worked for me yesterday doesn't work for me today. I went through a period where I had hair down to my shoulders and was very feminine presenting. And today I'm enjoying being a little bit more mask,
yeah
like a joke because I walk down, a purse falls out of my mouth. But like I still enjoy putting on a hat backwards and kind of just butching it up a little bit. And that's my prerogative,
yeah
as
I
Brittany
mean,
would say.
I'm the fruitiest person that can also build you a house. Like I can cook you a
Yeah, yeah,
meal. I can do, but I can
exactly.
build, like I have, this is also part of why I'm so sore is because I have this thing, even though I am as gay as I am, where I'm just like super fabulous and whatever. There's this still like uh, from whatever masculine side lives in front of me, where if you need brute strength, I have to show up like, oh, you need that lifted.
Mm.
Hey, little lady, you need, and I
Oh,
just
I
have to,
love
I just have to
that.
like lift this up, like, oh, I'll lift this car up for you, and it's just like, and then it's like, fuck, now you're gonna be like tired, like, but I
No,
just,
it's me
I can't
too.
help it, and I know it's happening. Like, stop butching it up, like, let a dumb straight guy be a dumb straight guy. You don't need to play that game, but I can't
I
help
know
it.
we've evolved from that, but at the same time, it's like I must carry all of the
Yeah,
groceries home on my back. Like my husband can't hold; he's not allowed to hold anything. I've got to be the loaded mule, to show my strength and
I
my
literally
resilience.
in New York, I treat it like I was like, oh well, these are just farmer carries, and I'm gonna like do a walking plank. So I'm a standing plank. I'm gonna do a farmer carry, and I'm gonna just set them down when I get to the end of the block, and then I'm gonna pick them back up. I'm
Pick it
really
back
making
up,
sure my hinge is in place,
deadlift.
like just like Jesus fucking Christ. That's I adore you. I'm even more upset that we didn't get time together in
We
in New
will.
York.
This is the beginning. This is the
So
beginning.
we briefly touched on it, and I don't want to underplay it, but you did Broadway. You
I
did the
did
dream.
Broadway.
You did the dream.
Oh my God. And I got it from an open call of all things. I used to really begrudge EPAs and ECCs, but I walked into the room, I did a monologue from Angels in America, and the next thing I knew, I was making my Broadway debut. It happened by fluke. I wasn't expecting it, but I will say this, nothing changed. No fireworks, no parades, no I've arrived. None of that happened. And what a gift that was. Because I truly thought that Broadway would change my life, not only from the outside, but from the inside.
Yeah.
And thank God it didn't. It's just a bigger show at a bigger scale. People are still stressed out to the nines, if not more. And blink and you'll miss it. So it's like it's an encouragement to be present for the experience that's in front of you. It was a beautiful show. It was The Inheritance, a two-part show, and I got to have a really nice. My part was unlisted because it was a surprise, so I didn't even get to really tell people about it. So I got to really
Oh,
connect with why am I doing this?
yeah.
Why do I want to perform? And that was the biggest blessing of all, to make my Broadway debut in that way
So you weren't
with
in
a
the
group of 12.
you weren't in the
I was
play
in the
though?
program. No, they would hand out flyers at the end of every show with our names. There were 12 of us who would make a surprise appearance at the end of the first part, and they put us in the basement. We were sitting on the floor. It wasn't the most glamorous experience you can imagine, but we had the time of our lives down
I
there,
bet.
just chatting about what it's like to be a gay man at this time, and where we're going and what our dreams are and how humbling this is, but at the
Mm.
same time so lifted and high and such a thing to celebrate. Like the mixture of the two, the juxtaposition was fabulous for me because it felt like a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'm an artist no matter what venue I'm in. If I'm in a back alley singing The Man That Got Away, it's just as much as valid as Nick walking onto a Broadway stage, and
100.
sometimes more rewarding, to
Yeah.
be quite frank with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my thing is I know it doesn't change things. I know you're still who you are and whatever. But like no one can take away that you're
No, thank God.
Broadway's
No,
Sam
I
like
earned that. I earned
they can't
it.
take that away. And like the real reason, and I've been transparent about this for most of my career. The real reason I want to book Broadway is because I want to get onto those Broadway concert tours, like circuit. I
Oh
want to be like,
God, don't they
I want
look
to the
fabulous?
Sandusky Philharmonica. The what I
Oh
want to do
yes,
every
please.
podunk town and every big town, every cruise ship. I call it my Audra
Absolutely.
McDonald lifestyle. Like
I'm here for it.
I,
I'm here
I,
for it.
I've already done a few, I've done concert work, so I got that, but I want to do like that level. Like I want to be on that. That's why I want to do Broadway. I got the hot man by my side, so like we'll get that.
Oh,
And I'm just missing, I got 2 MAC awards, but I wouldn't mind, a Tony.
that's
That's fine.
incredible.
Like that's
That's incredible.
I want my Audra McDonald lifestyle. So like if Broadway doesn't change who I am as a person, I just wanted to change my bookings. I just
No,
wanted.
absolutely. I want it for the self-care regimens. Like when you're in a show, like I was reading about Megan Hilty and her regimen. She goes and gets red light therapy and
Oh wow.
massages, and they're all paying for it. So I'm like, I just want that lifestyle for a little bit
And
to
the
have my.
excuse to stay in home. Just be like,
Oh my God,
I can't come
just
to
to
your
stay quiet.
birthday. I can't come to your. I'm so sorry. I spent half. I spent all of my savings in Hell's Kitchen. Just like it's always someone's birthday. There's always a
No
reason. Like
kidding.
we didn't book it. Let's get margaritas. Oh, we we slept in. Let's get margaritas. It's like Jesus Christ. Like no more margaritas. Strike that from the record. I will never say that in my life.
So good.
It's just
It's so brilliant.
it's Hell's Kitchen. And I mean, being in LA, that's the nice thing is like being able to like I become such a homebody and it's just beautiful. It is
Yeah,
just
it's a
beautiful.
gift.
It's nice.
It's a gift.
So I want to talk about, like we talked about, the side hustles you've done, and the somewhat continuing the stereotype of the, okay, now I'm done with hospitality, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. You're doing something now, going back to
Oh,
the top of the show, a little spicy. Do you want to talk to our listeners about what
sure.
you're up to right now?
I am training. I'm currently training to be a sugarist, which is hair removal, specifically for men, and primarily doing, male Brazilians. We do everything: backs, tops of the ears, chests, legs, arms, but primarily like sack and crack. And so it means I'm working with a lot of parts all day, every day. At this moment, I'm training out of my apartment and also training with the sugar daddy in Hell's Kitchen, and he's just been so generous with me. I'm hoping to join his roster in the fall.
Oh, wow.
But it's the reason I was drawn to this work is I first got sugared during the pandemic because I was like, I got to see what this is all about. And not only did it feel amazing to just be smooth, but I learned how to arrive in my body in a different way on that
Mhm.
table, like how to be fully embodied. And I want to provide that experience for other people so that they can feel comfortable in their own skin. Also, the idea of giving the LGBTQ community a place to go where they can feel good in their own skin. Like it's for a trans person to walk into your typical sugaring place. It's a complicated endeavor, and so to
Yeah.
have to provide a space for people to come and feel safe and to feel beautiful and clean and smooth is really exciting to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, like talk about embracing my daddy. I think I'm entering my daddy era with sugar
Yes.
daddy of like, I'm going to help you feel the way I've worked so hard to feel myself. It's taken me 18 years to feel really comfortable in my own skin. And if I can help you get there in an hour session, then so be it. How rewarding that is.
That's absolutely beautiful, because and this is not the most stereotypical transition for an actor, but because
No,
you would do massage therapy, you would do this, like, this is amazing. And how do you keep? I mean, because it is pretty spicy. If you follow the sugar daddy,
very
if
spicy.
you want, it is, if you like spicy content, and on Blue Skies it gets a little spicier.
I
Then
didn't know about that account. Didn't even know, and now I do, and I'm addicted. Yeah,
and
it's
it's
great.
because you get to see the before and after, and it's like,
Yeah,
I would, I mean, talk about, it's like being at a buffet and just being happy to look. Like,
it's
this is,
amazing.
there are no calories if I'm just looking.
Right.
So, and but how do you, is there any what's the word I'm looking for? How do you balance the spiciness of it and the thirst of it with the professionalism? Because seeing all these bodies, and I'm sure there's some are more appealing to you or to others or whatever, but just like, so like, how do you manage, like, the thirst of it all with the
Yeah.
professionalism of it all, in creating that safe space, like celebrating how fucking sexy you are and what a beautiful this and that, but like also being
Hmm.
professional and being like, but this is also safe, and I'm not going to try and take you home at the end of the catering event. Like,
I mean, if you're willing, I might, but at the same time, it truly is a safe space, and I think the way I balance it, it's something I'm really navigating now because I'm relatively new to it, is using that charge I feel to guide my work and to help me step into my own confidence as an esthetician. Because it is, it is very grueling work. It's very detailed work, it's surprisingly very difficult. And one wrong angle, one wrong move, and your sugar can get stuck. So, I use that charge to fuel my confidence in my work, but I also find that I'm able to diffuse that tension through conversation
yeah,
and just the gift of gab and finding, what do we love to talk about, and what do you like to do with your life, and if it does, and if things do happen, because people do get hard, people do, you say, oh my god, it works, your parts work, I'm so happy for
yeah,
you, can you
no
hold it for me,
embarrassment.
and we'll, yeah, no, I mean, like, if you're going to be touched in that way, things are bound to happen, but
Yeah,
letting people know that they are safe and there aren't any expectations and that there are boundaries around the work we're doing is something that I'm really excited to provide, because I wasn't given that opportunity in the hospitality and the acting industry kind of growing up through my 20s. So I want to pay it forward and give it to the people who really deserve it. You never know. Also, you never know what someone is coming into that room with, whether it be
yeah.
trauma of their own. And so to really honor that and to create that safe distance is important to me.
Yeah.
but also to make you feel fantastic in your own skin and to celebrate you on that table and how brave it is to reveal yourself that
Yeah,
way.
and to be really, like you said, be really in your skin, to be somewhat sexual without being sexualized, which is not
Absolutely.
which is not something that you can find on Grinder necessarily, or Scruff, or any of those things. Whereas, like,
No,
it's choose your own adventure. I get that, but in exploring and in finding yourself, it's not always the safest space. And so I'm just here to get sugared. I'm here to do this and that. And it is an exploration of my body, but it's not an exploration of my body that I don't feel comfortable with, or I might feel forced or coerced into doing, something else that I don't want to do. So what an
it's quite
amazing
the opposite. Yeah.
service. Cause I mean, I was looking at him like, I follow the sugar daddy. I've known him for years, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. This is what a jet sounds like a dream job. Like,
It's pretty amazing, to be quite frank with you. I'm in recovery with my own body stuff, and so to be around bodies and to see how bodies work, different bodies of all shapes and sizes, has been really healing for me.
yeah.
And like that's what I also get out of it, is just like, oh my God, bodies are beautiful no matter what shape or size they are.
Amen.
And that thrills me. That really
Amen.
thrills me.
Well, this has just been a
You have
treat.
a dream.
Yeah, this is just, I mean, we are just two friends chatting it up back and forth. We
Peas in a
went,
pod.
I get so nervous every time. Have you ever done like the performing thing where you're like, oh, it's gone. The gift is gone, like leading up to
Oh,
performance?
before, when I was sitting in the waiting room, I was like, well, first of all, I didn't know we were on camera, so I got to go get a hat. And then I was just dying of what am I going to say? But you made me feel this is your gift. You
Oh,
make people feel so comfortable
thank you.
to reveal themselves in a way that they ordinarily wouldn't. So, what a privilege to be on this side of it and to witness that gift. And I'm really grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn it back to you. I'm gonna accept that compliment and shoot it right back to you. And I want to make sure that we focus on you, because I talk plenty on here. I want you to let people know how they can support you, find you, cheer you on, find your services as a performer, as a drag queen, as a sugaring artist. How can people support you and find you?
I'm very transparent about everything I'm doing, all on Instagram. So it's at Sam Given Sing is my handle. And I talk about my recovery. I talk about my body journey. I talk about my sugaring journey, my acting journey. If you want to come along for the ride, I'd be happy to have you. And I'm also here if you need me. If you want to reach out and have any questions about the industry or any of those other topics, I love being a voice of support.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And the final question I like to ask is, we live and die by reviews in hospitality, in performing, now in your new venture in sugaring. Like, we live and die by reviews. And we know that bad news has a way of making its rounds quicker than any other news at all. So I always like to make sure to call out good things. And if I have a good experience, I need to let the person know who needs to know that I had a good experience, that Jojo did this, and you, just so you know, you have a wonderful person working here, or so and so made my shift easier, just so you know, I appreciate my coworkers. So is there someone in any of your careers, in any aspect of your life, who has made a tough shift easier for you, that you would like to shout out today and dedicate this show to?
She comes from the performing world, but she's always with me, and it's Randy Graff, who was the original Fontaine on Broadway in Les Mis, and she won the Tony for City of Angels. But she has this phrase that I take with me before I enter any room, whether it's a hospitality shift or a fitness shift or now a sugaring shift, and it's nothing to prove, only to share. And it immediately humanizes what we're doing and sets an equilibrium. She's always been, what I like to give to people is that voice of support, and she's always been that for me,
Mm.
like a second mom or an older sister. So Randy Graff, you are a dream sent from above.
And here I started the show with "I Dreamed a Dream," not knowing.
I loved it. I was singing along with you.
So there you have it, Randy. Uh, th- Thank you for everything you do to make our tough shifts easier. Clearly, the world needs more people like you. This has been another episode of Tough Shift. And just remember, tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life. Take care. Tough Shift was created and hosted by Patrick Murtagh. It was recorded on Riverside. and distributed with Buzzsprout. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and maybe a comment or two. And remember, tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life.